Greetings, interwebs. It is I, Mr. G, here with a special video. You all know how much I love sharks, right? Well, probably, since I talk about them a lot. Well, guess what? Today, I'm going to be ranking a bunch of fictional sharks. Why? Because I'm bored, okay? Anyway, I split them into three different categories: top sharks, mid sharks, and sharks that should be sent to Davy Jones' locker for how terrible they are. I think that's good enough. Let's get into this. Alright, first off, we got Jaws. I'm conflicted because I don't actually know where to put Jaws. On the one hand, Jaws is cool, but on the other hand, their movie did cause sharks to get a bad reputation. But on the other hand, was Jaws really a villain? I mean, they were just following their predatory instincts and didn't act out of maliciousness. It's not like he was like, I hate humans, so I'm gonna eat them all. Rah, rah, rah. No, he was just doing animal stuff. So was he really even the villain? You know what? I'm just gonna put you in top tier out of pity. Okay. Next up, Bruce from Finding Nemo. Ah, what a good shark. You get top tier. You're a good shark, Bruce. I'm sad he didn't return for the sequel. Okay, next up, Lenny from Shark Tale. Top tier. You're a good boy. Alright, you might think I'm being too positive. Well, guess what? Next up, we got a bad shark. The Meg. Meg, you suck. Not only does your movie perpetuate a stupid theory that I hate, but you are a weirdly aggressive machine. You ate an entire pot of whales. How are you still hungry? How terrible is your metabolism that even after eating all of that, you're still hungry for things that are like an inch tall to eat compared to you? You get an F tier for being a terrible excuse for a shark. Which Meg am I talking about? All of them, man. They're all terrible. Alright, next up, we got the shark from The Little Mermaid. Did you know his name's Glut, apparently? Yeah. Anyway, you're going in the middle because you're cool, but you provide nothing to the story. You just appear, attack, and then never get brought up again, so I have to wonder what the point of you was. You're cool and all, but you provided nothing. Alright, next up, Felix the Shark from the FNAF books. You get bottom tier because you almost caused a grave robbing. And I'm not talking about the story when I say that. And the funny part is that you guys think I'm kidding. Alright, next up, Sharpedo from Pokemon. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Top tier. Alright, next up, the Hungry Sharks. Top tier. I loved your guys' game a lot. Alright, next up, Jabberjaw. You get medium because you're cool, but your show is just a blatant Scooby-Doo ripoff. But on the other hand, it's made by the same people who made Scooby-Doo, so it's like a self-ripoff, so it's not like real plagiarism. So, yeah. The only reason you're not in bottom tier is because of that sick song you had in the 2000s. That was awesome. Okay. Next up, Kenny from Kenny the Shark. You get top tier for being in a show that teaches not to be afraid of sharks. That automatically gets you a top tier. Next up, Mr. Shark. Yep, that's right, the Mr. Shark himself. The one from Toy Story. Who else? You get mid-tier. Sure, he had the iconic, "Look, I'm Woody, howdy, howdy, howdy." But other than that, you didn't really do much. But maybe you could redeem yourself. Maybe Toy Story 5 will be about him getting a redemption arc from the horrible crimes he's committed against toy kind. By the way, you ever seen this guy's model? Need I say more? Alright, in all seriousness, next up, Mr. Shark from The Bad Guys. I've never seen The Bad Guys, but I'm just gonna assume this guy's a top tier character. So, yeah. Next up, we got Sharko from that weird hyena shark show, Zig and Sharko. I really had to stretch for this list, didn't I? Anyway, you get mid tier because your show looks like something I'd see when I was having a fever dream. Next up, Snacker from Banjo-Kazooie. You get mid tier because you're cool, but you were annoying as heck. Alright, next up, King Shark from DC. You get top tier just for being played by Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I'm biased like that, aren't I? Alright, next up, we got the Kratoxy Rhino from Land Before Time, and you get middle tier. Why? Because you were cool and all, but, like, you should have been the main antagonist. Why weren't you? Why weren't you? And also because people think you're a megalodon. Yes, I'm deducting points for what other people think, so what are you going to do about it, Mr. Shark? You're extinct. Alright, terrible dogfish from Pinocchio. Top tier simply out of pity for the fact that I don't think people even realize Pinocchio's supposed to be eaten by a giant shark instead of a whale. Thanks, Disney. Alright, next up, Baby Shark. This might be my most controversial pick, but top tier. Why? Because it's teaching kids at a young age not to be afraid of sharks, so Baby Shark, you get top tier, despite what all those people going through that phase where they think that educational shows are like a plague on society think. I swear, it seems like every kid goes through that phase where when you're like between 8 and 10, you think that educational shows getting dunked on is like the height of comedy. Anyone else notice that? Anyway, next up, Gash from Insanaquarium. You get sent to Davy Jones because you are an absolutely terrible partner in that game. Alright, next up, Sharkleberry Finn from Kool-Aid. You get bottom tier because of your flavor sucks, buddy. Alright, next up, Sergeant Roderick from SpongeBob. You get top tier just because of the whole no eating in my classroom thing. Yeah, top tier, top tier. And finally, the Street Sharks. You get bottom tier for being a blatant TMNT ripoff. And unlike Jabberjaw, you don't even get points for having a cool song to justify your ripoffedness, so bottom tier for you. Well, that was my ranking of a bunch of fictional sharks. I hope you guys enjoyed. Why did I make this?